So we are officially less than 1 week away from starting the 2025 NFL season. The New York Giants are going to be taking on the Minnesota Vikings at home September 8th. And, before I start off this video previewing this week one matchup, I just want to leave a formal complaint for the coaching staff, I guess not necessarily the coaching staff. I really don't have that many grievances about them. What I'm a little irritated with is just the whole front office, where this is year 3 of a rebuild, and you going into week 1 at home against a team that you're going up against a team that's not. No one's calling them playoff bound. No one's calling them, no one's picking them for the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold is the quarterback. You're playing at home, and you're underdogs. You're going up against a team that's, granted, talented, still has basically the same thing that is perceived of the Giants, is that we have a quarterback problem. We say that, they might have talent on the rosters, but the quarterback isn't going to be able to really get the ball moving. So you're playing a team that almost seems like a clone of yourself. I think the Giants and the Vikings are actually very similarly built, at least offensively. But they do have better weapons than we do. But I think they have more quarterback questions than we do. So I think it kind of balances itself out. And I just can't believe that we're going into this game week 1 as underdogs. I just feel like I feel like even the fact, because I see the Giants and the Vikings so similarly, I feel like the edge should have went to the Giants just solely because it's a home game. If we were playing in Minnesota, I probably would have agreed with the odds, but the fact that we're playing at home, I just feel is disrespectful. And after 3 years of a rebuild, I almost am willing to call that inexcusable. I feel like that's, and I guess really it might just be a popularity contest, but the people that make these odds, most of the time they know what they're talking about. So, I mean, especially if you let your sports fan bias kind of get in the way and you're looking at these numbers thinking like, oh no, the media just hates the Giants, which is true, but the media just hates bad teams, right? We've been a bad team for a long time, and and sometimes the Vegas odds and stuff, sometimes those actually stand in our favor and kind of contradict what the media says. So I think it's actually kind of impartial when it comes to that. But anyway, that's just a little mini rant. It doesn't really, really have anything to do with the rest of this video. I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. Here we go. All right, well, we are officially like less than 1 week away from the Giants home opener versus the Minnesota Vikings. And, this is going to be my pregame kind of overview of what really to expect during this game and what are my key matchups. So, I mean, honestly, as soon as you go into this game, you are immediately drawn to, I feel like, the wide receiving cores on each side of the field. I mean, you got Malik Neighbors coming in, a rookie. He's kind of made some noise in training camp and in the preseason. People, Giants fans specifically, are ready to see the Giants finally have a number 1 wide receiver. He's from LSU. It's the whole Odell Beckham connection. I think there's a lot of hype in the Giants corner going into the game. There's a lot of hype in the Minnesota Vikings corner going into the game. I mean, you guys are walking in with, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and I know you guys are deep at that position as well, but those are like your two key players, and honestly, both of those wide receivers are quarterback proof. So even if you say, oh well, I mean, it's just Sam Darnold. Well, Sam Darnold is a capable quarterback if you give him time, and especially, and you don't need to even give him a lot of time, because like I said, those two wide receivers, they can get open, immediately off their release. So it's I feel like this game is probably going to be more of a shootout than people, I don't know, than I think people realize, because I think there are big question marks in both secondaries, and I think that each team both has firepower, to stretch the field, and it's going to come down to the offensive lines, if they can hold up, the pass rushes on either side. I know that the Vikings have two good tackles. I'm not really sure what their interior situation is looking like, but I'm hoping Dexter Lawrence is going to be able to eat, which, seems like he does, going up against, everyone. So, really going to have to rely on our pass rush and just the ability to affect the quarterback, get him off of his throws, because our corners, even though we did bring back Adoree Jackson, I feel like that decision was a minute late and $1 short, because, this, you're not even in football shape. You don't know the scheme, and you have less than a week to, get in shape, learn the playbook, to, be a starting corner in our opening game. And I feel like the Giants should have realized what they had, at that cornerback 2 position, months ago. And I feel like it's kind of like their own hubris, where, they drafted these players, they want them to work out. They want to give these young guys a chance, which I totally understand. But at the same time, it's like, you guys, sometimes the best thing you can do for a struggling player is just to let them sit and learn. Like sometimes, you draft a corner and they wouldn't play for 2 years and they come out and they look great, especially with quarterbacks. That's how a lot of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, were able to sit for their first few years and didn't get, shoved in right away. So yeah, I really feel like this probably should have been done, like I said, months ago, but I'm glad to have him back. Hopefully we don't see any of those effort issues that we saw last year. And, which, I mean, who knows? Who knows what that was all about? But I don't expect to see that this year from him at all. And then if we take a look at the Minnesota Vikings running game, I mean, they brought in Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a guy that I feel like is highly underrated in the NFL. He can, he can run through the tackles. He can run around the tackles. He can, catch it out of the backfield. He can pass block. He can run routes. He can basically do it all, which gives basically Minnesota 3 good pass catching options. And I know they're going to be without TJ Hawkinson. Minnesota is a team that can definitely take advantage of every area of the field. Kevin O'Connell, he's I think he's a great play caller. I think he's a good offensive coordinator, and he's definitely going to scheme some things up that's going to test our defense. And like I said, I think that this defense is going to be, it might be slow to start, especially in the secondary. We'll pick it up, as the season goes along, and that's true for every team. But our offense is going to have to keep up with this game, and it's going to rely on the back of Daniel Jones. Like, Daniel Jones has to step up. Daniel Jones has to take advantage of the opportunity that's been afforded to him with this improved offensive line, the improved weapons around him, and Brian Daboll taking over play calling. Like, at this point, yeah, there's no excuses for Daniel Jones. I won't be making excuses for Daniel Jones really from here on out, unless there's something that's like blatantly obvious, like if he gets like a blindside sack, within the first quarter second of a snap or something. Like, there's just some things that are just out of your control. But it's really going to rely on Daniel Jones to take advantage of this opportunity and prove to the fan base, prove to the organization, prove to the rest of the league that he is a franchise quarterback. And I think this is probably the best position that he's ever been in since he's been in the NFL. And honestly, he never even had help in college. So it's definitely the best position that he's ever been. He's literally in the best position that he's ever been in the NFL. And I think once he actually learns to trust those weapons around him, trust all the play calling, trust the offensive line, I think I think he'll actually succeed. But I think week 1 is too early, and I think that there are going to be some pitfalls week 1. I think there's going to be a lot of mistakes made week 1. It's very important for the Giants to get off to a hot start and win this first game, just to prove to not only the fans but to themselves that they're a good enough team to, go up against basically anybody on our schedule coming up, which I know we do have a hard stretch coming up too as well. And another thing that the Giants are going to have to account for in this game is the defensive coordinator for the Vikings. That's Brian Flores. Like, he had a higher blitzing percentage, per game last year than I believe Wink Martindale did, and I think he had around 50%. So, they're going to be sending the house basically every time, and so our offensive line, we're going to have to learn how to pick that up. Our running backs are going to have to be exceptional in pass protection during this game, just to survive the the excessive blitzing percentage. But I also think that it's a area of opportunity, as the Giants know from last year with Wink Martindale, that even though you blitz a lot and sometimes those blitzes pan out, most of the time too they end up leading to big plays for the opposing team. So I can expect us to take advantage of some of those blitz packages that the Vikings send our way. Hopefully we can get like someone like Malik Neighbors or Wan'Dale Robinson open early, or even send Jalen Hyatt down, for a big play as well. Like, use his long speed to try to deter the blitzing. I think this is a great week 1 matchup. I think we're two very similar teams. I think it's gonna be super fun, and can't wait to see it. But I'll be doing a post-game reaction shortly after the game, probably that night as well, and starting to come out with a lot more content for you guys as well. So I appreciate you guys watching this far. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.